I sometimes get the question, what is trauma? What qualifies as trauma? So I think it's really important to take a moment to just look at what trauma is. Very often we use that term in terms of very extreme circumstances, very violent or aggressive acts, or war, or assaults of any variety. Although that naturally is trauma, trauma is a full spectrum. So trauma actually is any event, whether it's real or perceived, that overwhelms our ability to process it in that moment. So when we're overwhelmed with either a perceived threat, it could be as simple as a scary movie when you're a child. If you're overwhelmed and flooded with an inability to process, your sensory experience is unable to make sense of what's happening, and your cognition, your brain just freezes in that moment. That is trauma. It can be real or perceived, as I said. So it can actually be life-threatening, or it can be a child or a young person observing an argument that is not life-threatening, but is perceived as such. Okay? So any event that freezes our central nervous system, blocks our capacity to make sense or understand or process what's actually happening. So based on that definition, most of us have experienced some degree of trauma, some degree of like a fear response that just locks us and we do not process it, and we move forward in our life without processing some of these very overwhelming emotional moments. There are therapies, there are excellent therapies available to unfreeze some of those types of experiences that we continue to sort of lock up in our body. We tense and tighten it up completely unconsciously. Over time, we're not even aware that we're actually still responding to a very old event. In fact, we're refracturing an old trauma again and again without fully identifying that that's what's going on. So trauma is very interesting. It has enormous potential for relief when you identify if there are unresolved, unprocessed, frozen moments in your emotional, physical, or sexual past. Thank you.